Since ancient times, people have been looking for ways to escape from everyday life, find oblivion, and free themselves from the burden of worries. Since ancient times, alcohol has been one of the most accessible and, alas, insidious ways to illusory freedom. This drink, like a two-faced Janus, simultaneously symbolizes joy and grief, creative rise and fall into the abyss. It is an indispensable attribute of festive feasts, and unfortunately a frequent companion of life tragedies. But what is really behind the attractive gloss and deceptive euphoria? Despite the widespread use and active advertising of alcoholic beverages, rarely anyone thinks about the profound impact that this drink has on the spiritual component of a person. In the future, we will lift the veil of mystery that has shrouded alcohol for centuries. The audience is waiting for a story about the mysterious influence of alcohol on the human energy field. We will turn to the wisdom of ancient teachings and warnings of enlightened masters, which will help to take a new look at the origins and nature of alcohol. The history of this drink is inextricably linked to the eternal aspiration of mankind to go beyond the ordinary, to reach higher states of consciousness and touch the divine. The clue to the mystery of alcohol lies in its very name. The etymological roots of the word alcohol go back to the Arabic language, to the term al-kuhl, which denoted antimony for eyeliner. At first glance, the connection between a cosmetic product and an intoxicating drink does not seem obvious. However, there is a deep alchemical symbolism behind it. Alcohol was perceived not simply as a powder, but as the quintessence, the spiritual essence of a substance extracted through complex alchemical manipulations. This spirit represented not only a concentrate of physical properties, but also, according to the beliefs of the alchemists, the energetic essence of matter. That is why alcohol, as if separating the soul from the body, became associated with the spirit that devours the flesh. This metaphor can also be traced in modern languages, where alcoholic beverages are often referred to as spirits or spirits. The use of alcohol as a sacred symbol goes back to the distant past. The Sumerians, Egyptians, and ancient Greeks perceived alcohol as a divine gift. In Mesopotamia, wine and beer were an integral part of ritual ceremonies, an offering to the gods. In ancient Egypt, wine was associated with Osiris, the god of fertility and rebirth. In Hellenes, alcohol became the personification of Dionysus, the deity of ecstasy, inspiration, and, at the same time, unrestrained madness. Ancient Greek philosophers, however, warned about the two-faced nature of this drink. On the one hand, it seemed to open the way to the deepest eye, to self-knowledge. On the other hand, it could entangle the mind, making a person defenseless in the face of dark forces. This duality, like a shadow, has followed alcohol through the centuries, shrouding it in a halo of mystery. In the culture of Islam, the word al-kuhl took on a new meaning, becoming a designation for purified, distilled alcohol. Despite the strict prohibition of alcohol, the Muslim scientist alchemist Jabir ibn Hayyan, whose name sounds like Heber in the West, made an invaluable contribution to the development of the distillation process, transforming alcohol into the product we know today. But over time, alcohol lost its sacred status. From a revered elixir that served spiritual practices, it has become its opposite, a tool that alienates man from his spiritual nature. In this article, we will try to analyze how the hidden facets of alcohol continue to influence our modern life. The impact of alcohol goes far beyond physiological processes, affecting the deep energetic structures of a person, known in esotericism as aura. To comprehend the depth of this influence, it is necessary to look at the problem from the position of synthesis of scientific and spiritual knowledge. A human being is something much more than just a physical body. It is a dynamic energy vortex surrounded by a constantly fluctuating field. This field, or aura, like an antenna, receives and radiates information, interacting with cosmic energies, and serves as a mirror reflecting the state of an individual's inner life force. In addition to information exchange, the aura plays the role of a protective screen protecting a person from harmful energy influences from the outside. The penetration of alcohol into the body triggers a chain of reactions that go beyond the biochemical transformations in the liver and brain. Alcohol disrupts the subtle harmony of the energy structure, provoking the appearance of gaps and zones of instability in the aura. These energy gaps make a person defenseless in the face of the negative external influences, be it destructive thoughts, astral entities, or other forces seeking to undermine spiritual integrity and vital energy. Like an invisible barrier protecting us from the outside world, our energetic shell can be damaged by alcohol. Rudolf Steiner, the creator of anthroposophy, argued that alcohol weakens a person's spiritual essence, making them vulnerable to negative influences. He compared this process to the fading of inner light, opening the way for destructive energies. According to Steiner, alcohol harms not only physical health, but also the spiritual component of a person. The use of alcohol distances a person from his higher self, the divine spark that gives direction, protection, and inspiration. Instead of inner harmony, a person addicted to alcohol often experiences emotional fluctuations, spiritual emptiness, and intellectual disorientation. This imbalance is particularly pronounced in the functioning of the chakras. Alcohol overstimulates the root chakra, responsible for sensual pleasures and material desires. At the same time, it suppresses the crown chakra, which connects us to higher consciousness and the divine. This situation creates a disturbing trend. The pursuit of material goods overshadows the search for spiritual enlightenment. Sages and spiritual guides have been warning humanity against this trap for centuries. For example, Buddha taught that spiritual perfection is impossible without inner and outer purity. Paramahansa Yogananda emphasized that alcohol extinguishes the inner light, depriving a person of the clarity of thought necessary for spiritual development. Alcohol is an insidious enemy, offering imaginary freedom, while it destroys the subtle connection between man and his true nature. Think about it. Does the fleeting pleasure of alcohol justify the price that must be paid? The loss of connection with the deepest self and weakening of the spiritual core? The answer to this question can dramatically change your worldview. Modern neurobiology confirms the deleterious effects of alcohol on the brain. Numerous studies demonstrate that alcohol suppresses the activity of the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for conscious choice, introspection, and control over behavioral responses. Alcohol abuse leads to blurred judgment, and the internal navigator responsible for good decisions begins to fail. The impact of alcohol on energy is noticeable not only for the person himself, but also for others. In places where alcohol intoxication reigns, the atmosphere becomes oppressive, disorderly, and explosive. Such an environment provokes the manifestation of low instincts, when emotions and sudden impulses dominate over reason. It is no coincidence that many spiritual teachings do not recommend visiting such places, emphasizing their destructive impact on both the individual and the whole society. However, there is a glimmer of hope. Human energy has an amazing vitality and ability to regenerate. By turning to spiritual practices such as meditation, Reiki, yoga, and working with intention, it is possible not only to neutralize the negative effects of alcohol, but also to restore inner harmony. These methods allow not only to heal the energy field, but also to strengthen the connection with the higher forces, bringing back the lost spiritual lucidity. Think about it. Is the fleeting bliss of alcohol worth the high price you have to pay? The loss of contact with yourself and the destruction of the spiritual foundation? The answer to this question may be the first step toward liberation. What is it that draws us to alcohol? Alcohol is a substance with a mysterious power deeply woven into the fabric of human history. It has become an integral part of rituals, a sign of socialization and, unfortunately for many, a refuge from suffering. But why, knowing its harmful effects, do we continue to reach for it like moths to the light? At the root of this attraction lies the gulf between man and his true nature. Mankind has always sought to transcend the boundaries of the material world, to find relief from existential torment, and to throw off the burden of everyday life. Alcohol, like a magic potion, offers a phantom relief. It promises deliverance from the hardships of life, gives a brief moment of delight and a sense of carefree. But this is just a deceptive shroud of illusion. Alcohol creates a false sense of freedom and phantom happiness. Under the influence of alcohol, a person feels an extraordinary surge of courage, anxiety, and fears recede. Shy and timid suddenly gains self-confidence. Depressed experiences a brief relief. But behind this fleeting sense of freedom lies an insidious deception. Instead of true liberation, alcohol takes us further and further away from the true I, obscuring the mind and destroying the inner harmony. The ancient Hermetic tradition speaks of the existence of unus mundus, primordial unity with the cosmos, a state of deep inner harmony. When we resort to alcohol to fill the inner void, we make a fatal mistake. Instead of seeking harmony within ourselves, we look for it in external, illusory sources, exacerbating the break with our spiritual essence. This illusion, this phantom happiness, comes at too high a price: loss of connection to our spirituality and the fading of our inner light. Let us explore together the true spiritual and energetic consequences of alcohol behind its attractive but deceptive mask. It promises a fleeting sense of wholeness, but this connection is only a mirage that inevitably dissipates, leaving behind an even greater emptiness. In the very depths of the human soul lurks the longing for wholeness, for reunion with some inner divine spark. It is a longing for a state of harmony and contentment that is achieved not through external benefits, but solely through inner transformation. The sages of antiquity, such as Plato and Lao Tzu, illuminated the path to true freedom and enlightenment, a path away from transient pleasures and escapism. In his work, The Republic, Plato described the ascent of the soul as a liberation from the shackles of the illusory material world, leading to the realization of higher truths. Lao Tzu, in Tao Te Ching, argued that true peace is found in harmony with the natural order of things, in following the Tao, not in the pursuit of fleeting desires or an escape from reality. Psychologically, alcohol creates a deceptive sense of relief, while exacerbating emotional dependence. It is often resorted to not for pleasure, but as a temporary refuge from anxiety, stress, and existential pain. However, alcohol only temporarily dulls inner discomfort, masking underlying problems that require a different solution. Chasing illusory comfort in alcohol is a path to nowhere, a vicious circle that does not solve problems, but only exacerbates them, forcing a person to return again and again to the emptiness from which he is trying to escape. The true path to happiness and freedom lies through knowing oneself, finding inner harmony and developing spirituality. The key question is not the fact of drinking alcohol, but the underlying reasons that push people to seek solace in it. What makes us turn away from reality instead of finding the strength to face it head-on? Alcohol is not a panacea, but only a veil that masks inner contradictions. Realizing this simple truth is the first step to true liberation. Throughout the ages, spiritual teachers, seers, and mystics have warned of the dangers behind the use of alcohol. Their instructions, imbued not with dry moralizing but with love and aspiration for spiritual harmony, have served as a beacon to help humanity maintain its connection with the divine. The Vedic tradition, for example, views alcohol as a substance that destroys sattva, purity, and harmony, while enhancing rajas, restless passion, and tamas, dark ignorance. The destructive effect of alcohol on spiritual practice cannot be overemphasized. It disrupts inner harmony, making meditation and self-knowledge virtually impossible. The sacred text Bhagavad Gita emphasizes the need for a balanced consciousness to realize the truth, and the use of alcohol is a serious obstacle on this path. The Buddha also repeatedly warned his followers against the dangers of intoxication. Abstaining from alcohol is one of the 5 basic ethical precepts required to attain nirvana and the highest levels of enlightenment. In esoteric, hermetic, and alchemical teachings, alcohol was perceived ambivalently. On the one hand, it symbolized profound transformation, spiritual transfiguration, and alchemical rebirth. On the other hand, it was considered a dangerous substance capable of damaging the human energy body and making it defenseless against the negative influences of the subtle worlds. Alchemists warned that uncontrolled use of alcohol inevitably leads to loss of control over spiritual energy. The eminent Sufi poet and mystic Rumi used the image of wine as a metaphor for divine love, intoxicating the Creator himself. Nevertheless, he emphasized that drinking wine literally could lead seekers astray from the path of spiritual awakening. For Sufis, true ecstasy lies in a deep spiritual connection with God, not in the illusory effects of external stimulants. In Christian doctrine, alcohol has a special role to play. Wine, the centerpiece of the Eucharist, symbolizes the blood of Jesus Christ and serves as a reminder of the new covenant with the Lord. Nevertheless, many saints and church fathers have warned against the excessive consumption of alcohol, emphasizing that it can cloud the mind and weaken the spiritual discipline so necessary for union with the divine. These sacred traditions and spiritual teachings reveal the significant impact of alcohol on a person's spiritual life. By turning to ancient wisdoms, we can more deeply understand the consequences of our decisions and their impact on our spiritual journey. These timeless truths are not just echoes of the past, but a guide to a conscious and fulfilling life. Various spiritual practices, from St. Augustine's philosophical reflections on the nature of drunkenness to shamanic rituals, emphasize the destructive effects of alcohol not only on the physical body, but also on the soul and the human energy field. Augustine viewed alcohol abuse as an act of self-destruction, alienating the person from divine grace and preventing concentration during prayer. For him, the use of alcohol represented more than just a physiological process. It was a real fall of the spirit, a severing of the connection with one's own divine essence. Shamanism, an ancient system of beliefs and practices, interprets alcohol as a harmful force that destroys the light body, a thin energy shell that serves as a shield and link between man and the cosmos. Shamans warn alcoholic beverages generate low-frequency vibrations, like a beacon attracting parasitic entities. These energy vampires feed on the life force, weakened by intoxication, breaking the human connection with Axis Mundi, the sacred axis of the universe, connecting it to the universal harmony. As a consequence, man loses clarity of thought, intuitive perception, and the ability to reach higher levels of consciousness. Nevertheless, some spiritual traditions allow the use of alcohol in strictly regulated ritual practices, where it is treated with the deepest reverence and awe, and the process is controlled by experienced instructors. However, even in such cases, the line between spiritual enlightenment and energetic decline remains incredibly shaky. Any deviation, even a slight one, from the original intention can turn the instrument of transformation into a tool of self-destruction. The great thinker Socrates, who penetrated into the secrets of the human soul, considered self-control to be the foundation of a good life. Alcohol consumption, in his opinion, destroys this foundation, depriving a person of power over reason and feelings, opening the way to chaos and degradation. Thus, the fundamental question arises: does alcohol really elevate us, bringing us closer to the divine, or does it give us only a phantom freedom, which inevitably leads to spiritual collapse? Finding an answer to this question requires a thoughtful approach and deep reflection, because this choice can determine the entire path of life. The study of the history of the origin of alcohol, its impact on the spiritual sphere, and the dangers associated with it opens the way to freedom from the shackles of addiction, emotional, physical, and spiritual. This allows us to begin a life of clarity, harmony, and inner peace. The path to liberation begins with awareness. Understanding the mechanisms of alcohol's effects on the body, mind, and spirit becomes the key to transformation. It is necessary to question the reasons for the craving for alcohol and the emptiness that one tries to fill with it. Often, the pursuit of external well-being hides the deep inner contradictions, giving only a fleeting comfort without touching the root cause of the problems. To break out of this vicious circle is possible by turning to your inner world, where the origins of difficulties lie and the path to healing begins. Various spiritual practices offer effective methods to restore mental balance and return to one's true nature. Meditative techniques and yoga help to pacify the mind, helping to discover emotional barriers and gradually overcome them. Prayer and mindful breathing re-establish a connection with higher powers, strengthening the human energy sheath. The practice of mindfulness develops the ability to observe one's inner impulses without giving in to them, which helps to break the chain of automatic reactions and strengthens self-control. The wisdom of ancient teachings confirms the effectiveness of these methods. In the Christian tradition, the concept of divine grace reminds us that support is always available to those who sincerely seek it. In Buddhism, meditation helps to achieve a state of enlightenment and liberation from obsessive desires. The healing power of nature becomes a faithful companion on the path to recovery. Staying in the forest, on the seashore, or among the mountain peaks helps to restore the natural balance. The life-giving energy of the earth seems to wash away the effects of alcohol, cleansing the body, mind, and soul. This sense of wholeness strengthens inner stability, making a person more resilient to external shocks. Cultivating gratitude becomes a crucial tool on the road to freedom from addiction. Instead of seeking solace in external stimulants, a person who recognizes the fullness of life focuses on its positive aspects. Appreciating the small pleasures helps to find peace of mind and build a solid foundation for recovery from addiction. This path begins with the realization of the problem and a firm intention to take control of one's life. Each step toward harmony brings a person closer to inner liberation by reconnecting them with their true essence. True freedom is the ability to live authentically, in harmony with one's inner world and spirituality. This path requires considerable effort, overcoming inner barriers and deep introspection. But the reward for this effort will be clarity of thought, balance of mind, and the deep, abiding peace that is the foundation of a new, free life. A sense of gratitude has an amazing power of transformation. It opens the way to the realization of the richness and fullness of life, which every day gives us fate. The ability to appreciate small joys and live in the present moment helps to fill the inner emptiness that many people try to drown out with external stimulants such as alcohol. Of course, any change is fraught with difficulties. However, the first step on the way to a better version of yourself is a firm intention to get rid of the addictions that prevent you from achieving inner harmony. No substance or addiction can truly enslave a person. True power lies in the realization of one's own self and complete control over it. The ability to live a life of meaning, joy, and freedom from the shackles of addiction depends only on one's willingness to take responsibility for one's decisions. Recovery from addiction is a journey that is easier to walk shoulder to shoulder with those who understand you. The support of like-minded people who share your values and aspirations is indispensable. Participation in spiritual communities, meditation groups, and socializing with friends helps you not to give up in difficult moments. People close to you create a sense of belonging and remind you that you are not alone on this journey. The path to healing from alcohol addiction often goes through the thorns of self-forgiveness. The past, laden with alcohol-related mistakes, can shackle a person in chains of shame and guilt, holding them captive to their addiction. However, as the poet Rumi wisely observed, the wound is the place where light enters you. It is in these lapses, in these painful experiences, that the possibility of personal growth and transformation lies. The mistakes of the past are not insurmountable obstacles, but valuable lessons, stepping stones to a more conscious and stronger version of ourselves. Getting rid of alcohol addiction is not just giving up a destructive habit. It is a tremendous beginning of a new life filled with freedom and harmony, a life that allows a person to manifest his or her true nature. This process is like the spring awakening of a tree after winter hibernation. As if filled with life-giving juices, it blossoms with new beauty, each leaf symbolizing renewal and rebirth. So it is in human life. Liberation from alcohol opens the door to spiritual rebirth, to the acquisition of inner strength and wisdom, to unity with one's own essence, with the inner light. The shadows of the past, inevitably accompanying any path, are left behind because they exist only because of the light that illuminates the road ahead. By striving for this light, one comes closer to the knowledge of one's true nature, to the source of true freedom, inexhaustible strength, and deep inner peace. Getting rid of alcohol addiction is not just a rejection of a harmful habit. It is the beginning of a new life, built on freedom and inner harmony. It is a journey to yourself, to your true nature, where the integrity of personality, inspiration, and inexhaustible inner strength are revealed. Like a tree awakening after winter hibernation, a person begins to blossom, filling the world around with vitality and beauty. Each branch of this tree symbolizes personal growth. Each new bud symbolizes rebirth and renewal. The decision to get rid of alcohol is a new stage of life's path, a spiral leading upwards. This path gives a person strength, wisdom, and a deep realization of his connection with the divine within himself. The shadows of the past lose their power, for they exist only because of the inner light that illuminates each step on the path to liberation, and this light is in man himself. The road to freedom begins with the realization of one's own inner radiance. This light is able to dispel any obstacle, to fill life with clarity, joy, and peace that have always been there, waiting to be found. This is not just a change. It is a return to the roots, to the primordial source of strength and inspiration that has always been within. A new path is open, and the key to it is in the hands of those who are ready to take this bold and decisive step.